The massive flagship Eternal Flame cut through the darkness of space, its hull gleaming under the distant stars. Admiral Kim stood tall on the command bridge, his scaled hands clasped behind his back as he gazed at the blue planet growing larger. On the main screen, Earth, so small, so seemingly insignificant, yet somehow it had managed to destroy 3 scout ships sent to test its defenses. "Status report," Admiral Kim demanded, his voice deep and commanding. "All 500 warships are in." "Formation, Admiral," replied Captain Han, his second in command. "We'll reach Earth's moon in approximately 6 hours." Admiral Kim nodded, satisfaction evident in his yellow, slit-pupiled eyes. The Draconian Empire had conquered 37 star systems in the last century alone. Their reptilian appearance, tall, muscular bodies covered in scales ranging from deep emerald to obsidian black, struck fear throughout the galaxy. Their technological superiority and ruthless efficiency in battle had crushed civilizations far more advanced than Earth's. "Open a communication channel to their global network," ordered Admiral Kim. "It's time these humans understand their situation, Captain." Han worked the controls, his clawed fingers moving with surprising grace. "Channel open, sir, broadcasting on all their major frequencies." Admiral Kim stepped forward, straightening his ornate uniform adorned with medals from countless successful conquests. The camera drones focused on him, transmitting his image to the unsuspecting planet below. "People of Earth," he began, his voice translated perfectly into every human language simultaneously. "I am Admiral Kim of the Draconian Empire. Your world now stands at the edge of a new era. For too long you have remained isolated, developing your primitive technologies while the rest of the galaxy evolved. Today that isolation ends. On Earth, panic erupted as the transmission interrupted all broadcasts worldwide. Military bases scrambled fighters, government leaders were rushed to secure locations, ordinary people stopped in streets and homes, staring at screens in disbelief at the reptilian face addressing them. Your pathetic attempts to defend yourselves against our scout ships, while surprisingly successful, have only delayed the inevitable," Admiral Kim continued. "Even now, 500 warships of the Imperial fleet orbit your moon, each capable of destroying your largest cities with a single weapon. You have exactly 72 hours to surrender your world to Draconian rule." In the war room of Earth's hastily assembled United Defense Council, military leaders from various nations gathered around tables covered with satellite images and defense plans. "They're not bluffing," said General Choi, pointing to the latest satellite images showing the enormous fleet. "Our long-range telescopes confirm at least 500 vessels, each larger than our biggest aircraft carriers." "Can we fight them?" asked President Wilson, her face grim. "With what?" replied Admiral Patel. "We have no space-based weapons, our missile. Systems weren't designed to target objects beyond our atmosphere, and our combined air forces would be useless against their technology." Back on the Eternal Flame, Admiral Kim reviewed the intelligence reports on human military capabilities. The information, gathered over decades of discreet observation, showed a planet divided into nations, each with their own military forces. None possessed weapons that could threaten a Draconian warship. They had no unified planetary defense system, no space-based weapons platforms. "Primitive fools," he muttered, zooming in on various military installations around the planet. "They still fight among themselves while the galaxy expands around them." Captain Han approached with a data tablet. "Sir, our intelligence department has completed their final assessment. The humans appear to be panicking. Their military forces are mobilizing, but they're disorganized. Some nations are already discussing terms of surrender." "As expected," Admiral Kim replied with a cold smile that revealed rows of sharp teeth. "Begin positioning the fleet. I want weapons locked on their major cities and military installations before the deadline expires." Over the next day, the massive Draconian warships moved into strategic positions around Earth, their hulls, black as night and shaped like elongated diamonds, blocked out the stars as they hovered over major cities. Smaller scout ships buzzed through the atmosphere, easily evading missiles fired by desperate human forces. In his private quarters, Admiral Kim reviewed the conquest plans one final time. Earth would become the 38th star system under Draconian control. Its resources would feed the Empire's ever-expanding hunger. Its people would serve as labor, Those who resisted would be eliminated. "This planet doesn't even deserve a full fleet," he said to himself, as he studied the holographic display of Earth rotating slowly before him. "I could have conquered it with 50 ships." As the 72-hour deadline approached, the Draconian fleet completed its deployment. The countdown began. On the bridge of the Eternal Flame, Admiral Kim took his command chair, ready to give the order that would bring another world to its knees. "Final preparations complete," announced Captain Han. "All ships report weapons systems at full power." Admiral Kim nodded. "Excellent. When the deadline expires, we'll start with their military bases, then their governmental centers. Once their leadership structure collapses, they'll surrender quickly." The great view screen showed Earth spinning slowly below them, blue oceans and green-brown landmasses wrapped in wispy white clouds. So peaceful, so unsuspecting of what was about to happen. Admiral Kim smiled. Another easy victory for the glory of the Draconian Empire. With just 6 hours remaining before the deadline, the mood on the flagship Eternal Flame was triumphant. Admiral Kim sat in his command chair, watching the countdown timer displayed prominently on the main view screen. Earth had shown no signs of organizing an effective defense, and reports from his intelligence officers suggested many nations were already drafting surrender terms. "Admiral," called out Lieutenant Park from the sensor station, her voice carrying a note of confusion, "I'm detecting unusual energy patterns emanating from Earth's surface." Admiral Kim turned his chair toward her station. "What kind of energy patterns?" "Unknown, sir. They're unlike anything in our database." Lieutenant Park's claws tapped rapidly across her console. "The readings keep shifting, appearing and disappearing at random locations around the planet." Captain Han approached the sensor station, studying the readings over Lieutenant Park's shoulder. "Could be some kind of primitive jamming technology," he suggested, "or perhaps they're attempting to activate hidden weapons systems." Admiral Kim snorted, dismissively. "Whatever it is, it won't save them. Our shields can withstand anything they might throw at us." He turned back to the view screen. "Continue monitoring, but don't be concerned. It's probably just desperate humans trying to appear more capable than they are." The ship's communications officer, Ensign Lee, suddenly straightened in his seat. "Admiral, we're receiving an emergency transmission from the destroyer Swiftclaw at the outer edge of our formation." "Put it through," ordered Admiral Kim. The screen flickered, showing the panicked face of a Draconian commander. "This is Commander Jin of the Swiftclaw. We're detecting some kind of spatial distortion forming around—" The transmission cut off abruptly. "Re-establish contact," Admiral Kim demanded, rising from his chair. Ensign Lee worked frantically at his console. "No response, sir. The Swiftclaw it's no longer appearing on our sensors." "What?" Admiral Kim strode to the sensor station. "That's impossible. A ship that size can't just disappear." Lieutenant Park's hands moved quickly over her controls. "Confirmed, Admiral. The Swiftclaw is gone. No debris field, no radiation. Signature, nothing to indicate it was destroyed. It's simply gone." Before Admiral Kim could respond, Ensign Lee called out again, his voice higher with tension. "Sir, we've lost contact with the Iron Fang and Doombringer as well." Battle. "Stations," roared Admiral Kim. "Raise all shields to maximum. Activate weapon systems." The bridge erupted into activity as red alert klaxons blared throughout the massive flagship. Crew members rushed to their positions, scales gleaming under the pulsing emergency lights. "3 more ships just vanished from our sensors," reported Lieutenant Park, unable to keep the fear from her voice. "The Night Hunter, Soul Crusher, and Death's Hand are all gone." Captain Han approached Admiral Kim, speaking quietly. "Sir, whatever is happening, it's targeting ships at the edges of our formation first. We should consider tightening our formation around the flagship." Admiral Kim nodded grimly. "Send the order. All ships to form a defensive sphere around this Eternal Flame. And get me the homeworld. We need reinforcements immediately." Over the next several hours, the situation deteriorated rapidly. Despite pulling into a tighter formation, Draconian warships continued to vanish. Sometimes singles, sometimes in groups of 3 or 4, all disappearing without warning or explanation. No debris, no distress signals, no signs of conventional weapons fire. "Admiral," called Ensign Lee from communications, "we can't reach." To the homeworld. All subspace channels are being blocked or jammed. Admiral Kim paced the bridge, his tail lashing behind him in agitation. That's not possible. Our communications array can punch through any known jamming technology. Sir, Captain Han said quietly, this doesn't appear to be known technology. By the time the deadline for Earth's surrender arrived, the situation had become catastrophic. Instead of launching their planned attack, the Draconian fleet was in disarray. Over 200 ships had vanished without a trace, and the strange energy readings from Earth were growing stronger by the hour. We need to retreat, Captain Han urged. Whatever the humans have, it's beyond our understanding. We can return with a larger fleet once we know what we're facing. Admiral Kim, his pride wounded, but his survival instinct stronger, finally nodded. You're right. Plot a course back to Draconian space, maximum speed. Course plotted, sir, replied the navigation officer after a moment. Engaging warp drives in 3, 2, 1. Nothing happened. Navigation report, barked Admiral Kim. The IEDU navigation officer worked furiously at his console. Sir, the warp drives aren't responding. The system shows they're active, but we're not moving. Try again, ordered Admiral Kim. It's not working, sir, replied the increasingly panicked officer. Something is preventing our warp field from forming. We're trapped here. The realization hit the bridge crew like a physical blow. They were stranded in Earth orbit, unable to escape whatever force was picking off their ships one by one. Sir, Lieutenant Park's voice was barely a whisper. The energy readings from Earth, they're changing. They're forming some kind of pattern now, almost like they're targeting us specifically. Admiral Kim stared at the view screen, at the seemingly harmless blue planet below them. How could they have been so wrong? How could this primitive world possess technology that could neutralize the mighty Draconian fleet? Admiral, Captain Han said urgently, 5 more ships just vanished. Whatever is happening, it's accelerating. Outside the viewports of the eternal flame, space itself seemed to ripple and distort. The stars blurred and shifted in impossible ways. And all around them, the once mighty Draconian fleet, the terror of 37 conquered star systems, continued to disappear ship by ship into the silent void. What are these humans? Admiral Kim whispered as he watched another destroyer flicker and vanish from existence. For the first time in his long military career, he felt something he had never experienced before, genuine fear. The sleek diplomatic vessel, Harmony, dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of Earth's solar system. Unlike the aggressive diamond-shaped warships of the Draconian fleet, the Harmony was elegant and streamlined, designed to represent the peaceful intentions of the Galactic Confederation. Ambassador Park stood on the observation deck, her slender form silhouetted against the backdrop of stars. As a member of the Eleran species, she appeared almost human, except for her slightly blue-tinged skin and the delicate ridges along her temples. The Confederation had chosen her specifically for this mission because of her reputation as a skilled diplomat and her experience dealing with both humans and Draconians. "Ambassador," called First Officer Jin as he approached, "we've completed our preliminary scans of the system." "And?" Park asked, turning to face him. "Nothing," Jin replied, confusion evident in his voice. "No sign of the Draconian fleet. Not a single ship, not even debris." Ambassador Park frowned. The reports had been clear. Admiral Kim had led 500 warships to Earth with the intention of conquering the planet. The Draconians had sent regular updates to their homeworld, right up until communications suddenly ceased. According to intelligence gathered by Confederation spies, the Draconian Emperor was furious about losing contact with his fleet and had been preparing a second, larger invasion force when the Confederation Council voted to intervene. Could they have already completed their conquest and returned home? Park wondered aloud. "Unlikely," Jin replied. "Our scans show Earth appears completely untouched. No orbital bombardment signatures, no signs of mass destruction on the surface, and the Draconian homeworld reports no contact with Admiral Kim's fleet. What about Earth itself? Any unusual activity?" "Just one thing," Jin said, pulling up a holographic display. "They appear to have constructed an orbital station recently. It's small but sophisticated, more advanced than we expected from their technology level." Park studied the hologram showing a modestly sized but elegant space station orbiting Earth. Open a channel to that station. Let's see what the humans have to say. Within minutes, the main view screen activated, showing a human woman with sharp eyes and a calm demeanor. This is Director Yoon of Earth Orbital Diplomatic Station. Welcome to our system, Ambassador Park. We've been expecting you. Park couldn't hide her surprise. You know who I am? Director Yoon smiled. We've been monitoring Confederation communications. We knew you'd be sent to investigate once the Draconians reported losing contact with their fleet. I see, Park replied carefully. Then perhaps you can explain what happened to 500 Draconian warships. Our scans show no trace of them in your system. We would be happy to discuss the matter in person, Director Yoon responded. Consider this an official invitation to dock with our station. Our chief diplomat, Dr. Lee, is eager to meet with you. Park exchanged glances with Jin, who nodded slightly. We accept your invitation. We'll dock within the hour. As the Harmony approached the Earth station, Park was increasingly puzzled. How had this supposedly primitive planet constructed such an advanced orbital facility? According to Confederation records, humans had barely mastered basic spaceflight. They had a few small colonies on their moon and neighboring planet Mars, but nothing that suggested the capability to build this station or to neutralize a Draconian battle fleet. When the airlock doors opened, Park and her small delegation were greeted by a welcoming committee of humans. At their head stood a man with a thoughtful expression and calm eyes. Ambassador Park, he said with a slight bow, I am Dr. Lee, Earth's chief diplomat. Welcome to our humble station. Park returned the bow. Thank you for your welcome, Dr. Lee. I must say your humble station is rather impressive for a civilization that supposedly hasn't mastered faster-than-light travel. Dr. Lee's smile remained unchanged. Appearances can be deceiving, Ambassador. Please, join me in the conference room where we can speak more comfortably. The conference room offered a stunning view of Earth below, its blue oceans and swirling white clouds creating a peaceful tableau. Park took a seat across from Dr. Lee, while her aides arranged themselves around the table. I'll be direct, Dr. Lee, Park began. The Draconian Empire reports losing contact with their entire invasion fleet. Our scans confirm there are no Draconian ships in this system, yet Earth shows no signs of battle damage. What happened? Dr. Lee folded his hands on the table. The Draconians came to conquer our world. They gave us an ultimatum: surrender or be destroyed. We chose a third option. Which was? To remove the threat without causing harm, Dr. Lee replied simply. Park leaned forward. You expect me to believe that a pre-FTL civilization somehow neutralized 500 advanced warships without destroying them? I understand your skepticism, Dr. Lee said. But yes, that's exactly what happened. We meant no harm to the Draconians or their crews. We simply relocated them. Relocated? Park repeated incredulously. An entire battle fleet doesn't just relocate without a trace. Dr. Lee's expression remained serene. Yet that is precisely what happened. Admiral Kim and his fleet threatened our existence. We defended ourselves in the least harmful way possible. Park studied the human's face for signs of deception, but found none. How could you possibly have the technology to do something even the Confederation would find challenging? Perhaps, Dr. Lee suggested, what you know about Earth and its people is incomplete. Park felt a chill run down her spine. If these humans possessed technology advanced enough to make a Draconian fleet vanish without a trace, what else might they be capable of? And why had they hidden their true capabilities from the galaxy for so long? I believe, Dr. Lee continued, that I can offer you a more complete explanation. But it would require showing rather than telling. Would you be willing to visit Earth's surface? There's a facility I'd like you to see. Park hesitated. Her mission was to investigate and report back to the Confederation Council, not to potentially put herself at risk. But curiosity and the need for answers won out. Very well, she agreed. Show me what happened to the Draconian fleet. As the shuttle descended toward Earth, Park gazed out at the blue planet that had somehow defeated the galaxy's most feared military force without firing a shot. Whatever secret these humans were hiding, she was about to discover it. and she suspected it would change everything the Confederation thought they knew about this supposedly primitive world. The shuttle descended through fluffy white clouds, revealing the vast blue expanse of the Pacific Ocean stretching to the horizon. Ambassador Park gazed out the window, noting how peaceful Earth looked from this altitude, nothing like a planet that had just faced an invasion by the galaxy's most feared military force. "Beautiful, isn't it?" Dr. Lee asked, noticing her expression. "Is," Park admitted, "though I'm curious why we're flying over an ocean when most of your population centers are on land." Dr. Lee smiled mysteriously. "Our destination isn't on land." The shuttle began to descend toward the ocean surface. Park tensed, expecting them to crash, but instead the water seemed to part before them, revealing an opening that hadn't been there moments before. "What is this?" she gasped. "The entrance to Truth Deep," Dr. Lee replied, "one of our primary research and defense facilities." The shuttle glided into the underwater tunnel, which sealed behind them. They continued downward through a series of massive chambers, until finally docking inside an enormous underwater complex. When they disembarked, Park and her small delegation stood speechless. The facility stretched for kilometers in every direction, filled with technology unlike anything in the Confederation's records. Thousands of humans worked at stations featuring holographic interfaces far more advanced than those on Park's own ship. "This is impossible," whispered Jin, Park's first officer. "Earth is supposed to be a developing world, barely capable of reaching their own moon." "That's what we wanted the galaxy to believe," Dr. Lee said as he led them through the facility. Workers nodded respectfully as they passed, seemingly unsurprised by the presence of aliens in their secret base. They entered a large circular chamber, dominated by a spherical holographic display, showing Earth at its center, with various data streams flowing around it. "Ambassador Park," Dr. Lee said, his tone becoming more formal, "what I'm about to share with you has been kept secret from the greater galaxy for over 10,000 years. Are you prepared to hear the truth about humanity?" Park nodded, unable to form words as she tried to process everything she was seeing. Dr. Lee activated a control panel, and the holographic display changed to show a different star system, one Park didn't recognize, with a beautiful green and blue planet orbiting a yellow star. "This was Terran Prime," Dr. Lee explained, "our original homeworld, located in what you now call the Andromeda Galaxy. 10,000 years ago, we were an advanced civilization, peaceful explorers with technology far beyond what even the Confederation possesses today." The display shifted to show massive city ships traveling through space. "Then came the Harvesters," Dr. Lee continued, his voice hardening, "a species that consumed other civilizations, literally. They didn't just conquer, they fed on both the people and the accumulated knowledge of advanced races. We fought them, but they were relentless. Billions died. In the end, we had only one choice: to flee." "You came here?" Park asked. "Not immediately," Dr. Lee replied. "We wandered for centuries, searching for a suitable world far from the Harvester's reach. When we found Earth, it was primitive but perfect, rich in resources with a compatible atmosphere and, most importantly, located in an isolated spiral arm of a galaxy the Harvesters had never reached." The hologram changed again, showing ancient human settlements being established on Earth. "But we weren't naive," Dr. Lee continued. "We knew that eventually other spacefaring races would find us, so we made a decision that would shape our entire civilization. We would hide in plain sight." "Hide?" Park repeated. "How does an advanced civilization hide?" Dr. Lee smiled. "By appearing to be primitive, we established protocols that would allow our civilization to develop outwardly at a natural pace while maintaining our true technologies. In secret, we created an entire shadow civilization existing alongside what the galaxy sees. Most humans don't even know the truth. Only those of us entrusted with protecting Earth are aware of our true heritage." "That's extraordinary," Park admitted. "But what does this have to do with the Draconian fleet?" Dr. Lee's expression became serious. "When we fled the Harvesters, we brought with us technologies they coveted most, particularly our dimensional manipulation capabilities. Here, let me show you." He led them to another section of the facility, where a massive window looked out into what appeared to be an enormous underwater hangar. Inside floated hundreds of Draconian warships, completely intact but seemingly frozen in place. Park pressed her hand against the glass, unable to believe her eyes. "The missing fleet," she whispered. "Not missing," Dr. Lee corrected. "Relocated. When Admiral Kim threatened our world, we activated our dimensional shift technology. We didn't destroy his ships. We simply moved them sideways in reality." "Sideways?" Jin asked. "Into a pocket dimension where time flows differently," Dr. Lee explained. "For Admiral Kim and his crews, barely minutes have passed since they arrived at Earth. They're completely unharmed, merely paused." "That's impossible," Park stammered. "Even the most advanced Confederation scientists have only theorized about manipulating dimensions and time flow." "We perfected it millennia ago," Dr. Lee said simply. "It was how we escaped the Harvesters. We didn't just travel through space, we traveled through dimensional barriers." Park turned to face him directly. "If what you're saying is true, if humans possess this level of technology, why hide it? You could have joined the Confederation as an advanced race, shared your knowledge." Dr. Lee shook his head. "And risk attracting the attention of the Harvesters? No, our ancestors paid too high a price for our survival. Besides, we learned from our history that advanced technology doesn't always bring peace. Sometimes it's better to appear harmless than to reveal your true strength." "So what will happen to the Draconian fleet?" Park asked, looking back at the suspended warships. "Eventually, we'll release them," Dr. Lee replied. "But by then, centuries will have passed. In our dimension, the Draconian Empire as they know it will be long gone. They'll emerge into a different galaxy, one where hopefully their aggressive expansion will no longer threaten peaceful worlds." Park struggled to process the implications. "You realize what this means. If humans can do this to a Draconian fleet, you could do it to anyone. The Confederation itself would be defenseless against such technology." Dr. Lee placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. "Ambassador, if we wanted to conquer, we could have done so long ago, but that's not who we are. We built this sanctuary to escape violence, not to perpetuate it. All we want is to be left in peace." Park looked again at the suspended Draconian ships, powerful vessels rendered harmless without a single shot fired. "The question now," Dr. Lee said quietly, "is what will you tell the Confederation about what you've seen here today?" Park turned to face him, understanding the weight of the decision before her. The truth about humanity would change everything. The balance of power in the galaxy, the understanding of technological possibilities, perhaps even the future of civilization itself. And it was now in her hands. The news swept through the galaxy like a supernova. At first it was just whispers, rumors that someone had finally stood up to the Draconian Empire and won. Then came the official announcement from the Galactic Confederation. An entire Draconian invasion fleet, 500 warships strong, had vanished while attempting to conquer a small blue planet called Earth. On Viridian 4, a planet that had suffered under Draconian rule for 3 generations, people poured into the streets when they heard. "Earth defeated them," they shouted, their voices growing from a murmur to a roar. Earth showed it can be done. Similar scenes played out across dozens of subjugated worlds. The myth of Draconian invincibility had been shattered. Resistance movements that had operated in shadows for decades suddenly found themselves with thousands of new recruits. Provincial governors appointed by the Draconians woke to find their compounds surrounded by determined locals demanding their immediate departure. In the Grand Assembly, Hall of the Galactic Confederation, representatives from 200 worlds gathered for an emergency session. The chamber buzzed with excitement and apprehension as Ambassador Park took the central podium, flanked by Dr. Lee and a small delegation of humans. "Distinguished representatives," Park began, her voice carrying clearly through the vast chamber. "What I am about to present will change our understanding of galactic history and power dynamics forever." She gestured to Dr. Lee, who stepped forward. A hush fell over the assembly as they got their first close look at a human. Many had expected something extraordinary, but the simple bipedal form before them seemed so ordinary. "Greetings, Doctor," Lee said, his calm voice belying the magnitude of the moment. For 10,000 years, we humans have hidden our true nature from the galaxy. Today, that changes. Behind him, a massive holographic display activated, showing the technological wonders hidden beneath Earth's oceans and mountains. Gasps echoed through the chamber as the assembly witnessed dimensional manipulation technology that most had considered theoretical at best. "We came to this galaxy as refugees," Dr. Lee explained, "fleeing a threat greater than any you have faced. We chose to hide our capabilities, to appear primitive because we had seen firsthand what happens when advanced technology falls into the hands of those who would use it for conquest rather than protection." In the assembly, a representative from Proxima II stood. "You claim to be peaceful, yet you have technology that could dominate us all. Why should we trust you?" Dr. Lee smiled gently. "Consider our actions. When faced with a Draconian invasion, fleet, we didn't destroy them. We simply removed them from play. No lives were lost. Even those who came to annihilate us were shown mercy." "And where exactly are these Draconian ships now?" demanded the Draconian representative, scales bristling. With anger, Dr. Lee turned to face him directly. "They exist in a dimensional pocket where time flows differently. They are unharmed, but by the time they re-emerge, the galaxy will have changed. Your empire will have the opportunity to evolve beyond conquest." Meanwhile, deep within that dimensional pocket, Admiral Kim stood on the bridge of the Eternal Flame, frozen in a moment of dawning horror. Through the viewports, he could see the stars outside blurring and changing position at impossible speeds. Occasionally, the blur would clear enough for him to glimpse snippets of the universe beyond. Star systems rearranging, nebulae forming and dissipating, galaxies slowly rotating. "What's happening?" he demanded of his science officer, who stared helplessly at readings that made no sense. "Time, sir," the officer whispered. "Time outside our pocket is passing, rapidly. Weeks become years, become centuries in moments." Admiral E. Kim watched as the universe aged around his trapped fleet, understanding now the true power of the beings he had so arrogantly threatened. Humans weren't primitive prey. They were ancient guardians who had chosen restraint over dominance, mercy over vengeance. Back in the Confederation Assembly, the debate raged for days. Some feared human technology, others saw opportunity. In the end, pragmatism won out. The Confederation formally recognized Earth not just as a member world, but as a founding member of a new galactic council that would guide interstellar relations going forward. Within months, Earth opened its doors to the galaxy. The Sanctuary, they called it, a haven for knowledge, innovation, and protection. Representatives from hundreds of worlds traveled to the Blue Planet to learn, trade, and seek refuge. On Nixil III, a planet whose atmosphere was slowly being poisoned by industrial waste, human engineers arrived with technology that cleaned the air within weeks. On Trella, where civil war had raged for centuries, human mediators brought peace not through force, but through understanding. Dr. Lee stood with Ambassador Park on the newly constructed observation deck of Earth's primary spaceport. Below them stretched a vast complex where ships from across the galaxy now docked freely. Alien visitors mingled with humans, exchanging ideas and cultures. "You've changed everything," Park said, watching a group of refugee children from a war-torn system playing with human children in a garden designed to accommodate dozens of different species. "We've only revealed what we always were," Dr. Lee replied. "For too long we lived in fear, fear that the galaxy would become like the one we fled, fear that advanced technology would lead only to destruction. But perhaps we were wrong to hide the key. Draconians are still a threat," Park reminded him. "Their homeworld fleet is mobilizing, seeking revenge for what they see as humiliation." Dr. Lee nodded. "We're aware, but they'll find that Earth is no longer standing alone. Your Confederation ships are already taking position alongside our defenses. Indeed, in orbit above Earth, a mixed fleet of human vessels and Confederation warships maintained a protective perimeter. Not just a show of force, but a symbol of a new kind of cooperation. Across the galaxy, the old order was crumbling. The Draconian Empire found its conquered worlds slipping from its grasp. With each passing day, more systems declared independence, protected now by the umbrella of human and Confederation cooperation. And somewhere in a pocket dimension, Admiral Kim continued to watch the universe age around him, his once mighty fleet now a relic of a bygone era. Through the dimensional viewport, he could see glimpses of the new galaxy taking shape, one where conquest gave way to cooperation, where technology served life rather than destroyed it. He had come to Earth expecting easy prey, and instead found humanity, ancient, powerful, and wise enough to understand that true strength lies not in the ability to destroy, but in the choice to protect. As stars were born and died in the space of what felt like moments to him, Admiral Kim finally understood. The humans hadn't trapped his fleet as punishment. They had preserved it as a reminder, both of what had been and what could be, when the dimensional pocket eventually released them into a transformed galaxy. In the glow of a new dawn breaking over Earth's horizon, Dr. Lee watched ships coming and going, carrying with them the promise of a future where no species need live in fear of extinction. Humanity had stepped out of hiding at last, not as conquerors, but as guardians. The sanctuary's light now reached across the stars, offering hope to all who sought it.